Remember that live-action Cowboy Bebop Netflix show that came out, was it last year? It was a huge failure. They canceled it 2 weeks after it came out. They're like, yeah, we're not going to do any more of this. Sorry. The director of the original anime was dunking on it. As you can see in this article, original Cowboy Bebop director shut off Netflix's live-action remake after one scene. It's clearly not Cowboy Bebop. And it wasn't. The studio thought they could update it for a modern audience. And we're going to talk about that studio in a second because they regret the way they approached this series, which gives me a little hope for One Piece fans. So we're going to talk about an interview he did, but I want to start here because it's important because the same studio doing One Piece also did Cowboy Bebop. And it appears they have learned some lessons, but this show was a disaster. You cannot take an anime and try to westernize it. You can't do that. You need to be true to the source material. You're going to have to take some liberties with live action, and I feel like most people understand that, though most people look at an anime and say, well, this already exists. Why do I need this live action adaptation? And I guess you can make the case maybe, well, we want to show it to everybody because not everybody likes anime. Though they should probably check out some of them because there's some really good stories there, but that's a different video. We're going to focus on this. So Netflix has never really quite nailed this. We're going to make live action versions of anime. This was their biggest failure. But the studio that made this, Tomorrow Studios, I think is the name of the company. Yeah, Tomorrow Studios. So they made Cowboy Bebop live action. And everyone dunked on it. It got canceled like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that after it came out. It was that bad. It was embarrassing, I'm sure. But the studio decided they're going to move forward with another one, this One Piece live-action show. And unlike Cowboy Bebop, which I am a huge fan of, I have the Blu-rays. I even got the soundtrack on vinyl, a couple other things. I love Cowboy Bebop. Great, great show. One Piece, I never quite got into. I'm more so interested in One Piece fan reactions to this to see if they're satisfied. This is, regardless if I got into it or not, is the most popular anime manga in the world. The fact that it's been going on for 20 years says a lot. So, I wonder if they'll be happy with this. A lot of the reactions that I see on the trailer are pretty good. A lot of people seem to be enjoying the trailer. I have seen some criticism of people saying it doesn't look good, but I think the studio is actually approaching this in the right direction from what I've seen in their responses. You've got the original creator involved. I think that's good. He seems to be heavily involved. For some reason, they didn't approach that with Cowboy Bebop. And it seems like they thought they could just do this without him, because I remember the original Cowboy Bebop creator, like, he was supposed to be a consultant. They literally got a page of notes from him, and he said they didn't even follow them. So they thought, and they admit this, that they could approach this and just do it without him, and they could modernize it, no one would care, and everyone would enjoy it. And they learned real fast, you cannot do things like take Faye, a femme fatale, and turn her into a valley girl from California. You can't do that. You have to adapt her as she was in the anime. Everyone wants her. That woman that played Faye was not a femme fatale. She was just another annoying leftist. Because every time somebody came out and talked about, like, hey, we don't like this version, she would mock them. Like that time she got on that video and said, "I'm sorry, I can't fit in tissue paper," or whatever she did. She had the wrong reaction to fans. But it seems like this time they might be taking a little bit more serious, and they admit they failed. They regret the way they did Cowboy Bebop. And that's what made me want to make this video. I was like, wow, well, maybe they've learned. Whether or not they do or not, I don't know. That's up to you guys. But I like what they had to say here. But they should have done this from the start correctly. Netflix's One Piece executive producer has revealed that the most important lesson he and his studio learned from producing the streaming giant's live-action Cowboy Bebop abomination was, as audiences have been telling Hollywood for the past decade, that all fans want of any adaptation is source material accuracy. The EP, who served on both anime adaptations and whose Tomorrow Studios produced them, opened up about his current mindset during a recent One Piece-centric interview given to Variety's Jennifer Mass. Reflecting on the total and absolute failure that was Netflix's Cowboy Bebop, he admitted, "What we learned is the fans are expecting you to be true to the source material." How can you not know that's what they would want? One of the reasons that you take a property like this and you make it live action is you're taking a built-in audience. So part of the reason why you're doing that is that you know that built-in audience is going to watch it because it'll only help. But you need to kind of put them first. And the reason I say that is because there's a reason that people liked it in the first place. All you need to do is just do what people liked in the first place. You can't spite them and then expect them to still watch it and think that that's going to become popular. Because if you ignore the things that made it popular in the first place, why would anyone want anything to do with it? As we read the comments in response to Cowboy Bebop, it was always, well, they didn't do this character the same as this and that. He explained it really taught us a lot of what we needed to do with this one. Yeah, I don't understand why you thought you could just change things, but at least you admit that you screwed up and you want to do it right. Thankfully, he was not the only Tomorrow Studios team member to learn this lesson. According to studio president Becky Clements, after facing the cold hard truth about their hubris in attempting to Western Cowboy Bebop, was responsible for the series' abysmal reception. It became everyone's goal to make sure that when you looked at One Piece, you thought this was a live-action version of the manga that just felt like another feather to the legacy of Oda. That people just get to see it in another genre, but still have the same reaction and feeling towards the narrative. And then they go on to talk about how Oda, the creator of One Piece, is heavily involved in this time. I guess they have to get his permission to do things. So honestly, if this show fails, you can probably put it on him too, because unlike Cowboy Bebop, this time the creator is actively involved, overseeing things. It looks like his input is heavily valued. I don't know if this means the show will be good or not. I try to get into this show. I try to get into this manga, but I get so overwhelmed because there's so much. There's so much. It's been going on for a long time. Thousands of chapters, thousands of episodes. It's a little intimidating, but I'm happy for One Piece fans because it seems like they might actually get something that they want here. Whether or not that turns out to be true or not, we'll see. Anyway, nice that they admit that they failed, and they're not blaming anyone. They're blaming themselves. That's growth. So I like that. So we'll see. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about all of this. What are your thoughts? Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. Check out my Rumble and Locals, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.